The Georgia Dome of Atlanta was one of the few domed NFL stadiums that opened in the 1990s. It would go on to host many major events, including 2 Super Bowls and multiple Final Fours. Though a heavily used venue, its life was relatively short though, lasting only 25 years. This is the Georgia Dome. There and gone. The Georgia Dome was built from 1989 to 1992 in the capital city of Atlanta, Georgia, at a price of $214 million. The cost of the dome was exclusively funded by the state and would receive no private funding. After its opening in 1992, the dome would quickly host many major events, including Super Bowl XXVIII, just 2 years after opening, and several events in the 1996 Olympics. The dome later on would host one of the closest Super Bowls in NFL history, with the famous 1-yard short game of Super Bowl XXXIV in 2000. After the 90s, the Dome would host multiple NCAA Final Fours as well. The Dome would see heavy use with these events: Falcons games, SEC championship games, and its annual Peach Bowl game, along with many concerts. Aside from a few issues with the roof over the years, the Dome had a rather uneventful early life. However, in 2006, $30 million was invested to renovate the Dome. The most notable changes would be an entire seat replacement, which would change the colors of the seats to that of the Atlanta Falcons. New scoreboards came in as well. Though these renovations kept some of the shine on the stadium, it would only be 4 years after the renovation was announced that plans for replacement were revealed. Despite the Dome being only 18 years old at the time, the Georgia World Congress Center Authority had already made up its mind on the future. 7 years from this announcement, its replacement in Mercedes-Benz Stadium would open and the Georgia Dome would close. There were some initial claims while Mercedes was being constructed that the Georgia Dome would be kept in use, though this was likely just to cool the backlash over the dome's short lifespan. So why did the Georgia Dome fall out of favor? It didn't even last the length of a typical NFL 30-year stadium lease. The Georgia Dome was built during a time where stadium construction was in transition. Not many NFL stadiums were built during this era, and the ones that were obsolete quickly. It was simply too early for things such as more naturally lit and retractable roofs in NFL stadiums. Retractable roofs existed, but they were in their infancy, and domes were built during this time more out of necessity than for quality. Secondly, its funding was set up to make it easy for the Falcons to walk away. The Falcons weren't financially invested in the dome's construction either. They didn't own the dome, nor did they financially gain from events hosted outside of their own games. Third, Atlanta is a large market, with a lot of local wealth. It's the only major metro in the state of Georgia, therefore the entire state gravitates to it, and therefore public money can be more easily directed to it. Most of the new billion-dollar NFL stadiums have been built in the league's largest cities, such as Dallas, New York City, San Francisco, and LA. These cities have much wealth, and much to all of each of the stadiums built in these cities were privately funded. Mercedes-Benz would heavily be privately funded as well, though the city and state would still have to make a large contribution. The fact is, the Georgia Dome was obsolete somewhat quickly compared to stadiums of today. While it was still useful when torn down, it would likely have never gotten another Super Bowl, unless some massive and costly renovations were done, like in Miami or New Orleans. It also probably from ownership's perspective wouldn't compare to stadiums of similar sized markets. To put it simply, they knew they, Atlanta, and Georgia could afford a new one, so they went with it. The Georgia Dome would close and be demolished in 2017. While it was a well-used venue, it was a victim of being built in a bygone era in dome stadiums. It was simply there and gone. Thank you for watching.